So now that Donald Trump has won, conservatives feel empowered. They're going to try to bring back some bills that had no chance of passage earlier. Obviously, President Obama would have vetoed some of these harsh bills. And so one of the first things that they're going to do, this effort led by Ted Cruz and Mike Lee, oh boy, is to go after LGBT rights. So they think that straight people should have more rights than people who are in the LGBT community. So they don't really believe in America. America says we all have the same exact rights. That's the whole concept and idea behind America. But Ted Cruz and Mike Lee's of the world say, no, people who are of the same religious ideology as us should have more rights, and you should have less rights if you don't agree with us. It's one of the most un-American things you could imagine. But now that Trump has won, they're like, great, we get to back to making America un-America again. So let me explain. They have this thing called the FADA, that's the First Amendment Defense Act. So now you know conservatives, so you know that it has nothing to do with the First Amendment and is probably completely counter to the First Amendment because they use Orwellian language on all these things. Like Bush used to push for clean air regulations that would actually make the air dirtier. So in this case, they're going to go after people's rights under the guise of protecting the First Amendment. They say the FADA, that's the First Amendment Defense Act, would prohibit the federal government from taking discriminatory action against any business or person that discriminates against LGBTQ people. So let's pause there to understand the more Orwellian language. They say you're not allowed to discriminate against people who discriminate. No. You're not on the side of anti-discrimination. You're on the side of pro-discrimination. Hey, listen, guys, if you're proud of your positions, and conservatives are always telling us, oh, we don't care about political correctness, we don't care, or then just say it. Have the courage to call it what it is. You're for discriminating. So don't do the Orwellian language. You don't want gay people to have the same rights as straight people. Here, let's give you the details of the law and you'll see. The act distinctly aims to protect the right of all entities to refuse service to LGBTQ people based on two sets of beliefs. Marriage is or should be recognized as the union of one man and one woman, and sexual relations are properly reserved to such a marriage. But that's like your opinion, man. So this affects not only gay people, but it also affects every non-married person. So they're going to tell you what kind of sex you can and can't have, and accordingly, what kind of rights you have. They call this America? They call this freedom and liberty? These Tea Party right-wingers claim that they stand for the Constitution and freedom. They stand for the exact opposite. More details. NBC News says, ironically, the language of the bill positions the right to discriminate against one class of Americans as a, quote, First Amendment right, and bans the government from taking any form of action to curb such discrimination, including withholding federal funds from institutions that discriminate. Now, look, the famous case they like to use is the baker. Oh my God, you're going to make me bake a gay cake. First of all, the cake is not gay or straight, it's just a cake. Second of all, writing, congratulations or whatever you write on a wedding cake to a gay couple is not going to make your head explode. And it's not that the state is forcing you to do that. What it's saying is you are not allowed to discriminate. If a black or let's say a biracial couple comes in, black guy getting married to a white woman, the state says you can't say, I'm not serving you. You're not allowed in my store. I'm not going to give you service. We settled this in the civil rights era, because we did have those laws, and we passed new legislation saying you can't do that. And by the way, it's also unconstitutional to say I will treat one set of Americans one way and the other set I will treat unequally. So the government has to say, no. All Americans have the same rights. So you can't refuse service to black people. You also can't refuse it to gay people because you don't agree with their religious beliefs. So this is not an issue of the First Amendment in that sense. It's equal protection of the laws. In fact, we go to Jennifer Pizer. She's the Lambda Legal Law and Policy Director, and she writes, this proposed new law violates both equal protection and the Establishment Clause by elevating one set of religious beliefs above all others, and by targeting LGBT Americans as a group contrary to settled constitutional law. So Imagine if they could refuse service based on their religious beliefs or your religious beliefs. They don't like your religious beliefs. They don't like Jews. By the way, a lot of the alt-right doesn't. Now they're empowered, right? They don't like Muslims. Now, the alt-right will certainly agree to that. Like, the Jews, that's a mixed bag. Some of us hate them. Some of us are okay with them. Muslims, no, we don't like them at all, right? They're super proud of that. Think about, first of all, the ideology of that. Discriminating based on religion is awesome and fine. It's just, some of us don't mind the religion of Judaism. Most of us definitely mind the religion of Islam. And atheism, well, we're not sure. Some of us hate it. Some of us love it. But it doesn't matter because we're not equal anymore. We're not equal. One religion gets to rule us all, and their beliefs get to be enshrined in law. That's the new America. And so if you don't agree with that religion, is this based on religion? Of course! There is no rational reason why gay Americans should be treated different than straight Americans. But these clowns think that Yahweh told somebody 2,000 years ago, I don't like gay people. He also told them he doesn't like shrimp. Do we have laws about if you eat shellfish, well, you're going to lose all your rights? Oh, sorry, you don't get to be treated like all Americans. Why don't you do that? How about getting divorced? That's also in the Bible. You're not allowed to get divorced. How come we don't take away their rights? Oh, there's too many of them, and a lot of them are in the South, and a lot of them are evangelical Christian. This is about discrimination, fear, and hatred. So you think, well, really, even in the Trump era, is there enough people? It is currently co-sponsored by 171 House Republicans and just one Democrat, Daniel Lipinski of Illinois. He must be so proud. So there is an army of these right-wing zealots who now feel empowered to take away your rights. And let me come back to, if you think, I don't care about gay people. When they came for them, I didn't do anything because I'm not gay. Think again, this law also applies to you. It applies to almost everyone because Pizer warned that the bill's language also left room for individuals and businesses to discriminate against unwed heterosexual couples and single mothers because of the clause stating that, quote, sexual relations are properly reserved to marriage between a man and a woman. Now, if you have not reserved your sexual relations for the confines of a marriage, well, then you will be adjudicated guilty by these new Christian Taliban here in America. And if you do anything outside of what their particular religious zealotry is, they will come for you. Well, when they do, I hope that we all stick together and fight back, because this is not America. It doesn't make it great. It violates the Constitution. It violates our laws. And most importantly, it violates the idea of America, that we are all equal and we stick together. Become a TYT member and get all of our shows, including the ones only members see, Old School, Aggressive Progressive, our post games, TYT Classics, and you even get the interviews before anyone else does. TYTnetwork.com/join.